Jai Hind students, today we will be discussing about software testing and auditing. Well, these are some basic terminologies which we should be very much aware of when we are dealing in terms of testing of a particular type of software. Initially, I'll tell you what actually do we mean by the term error. All these words seems to be of the same type, but actually they are not same, and there is a difference between these very terminologies that we generally use and that we generally encounters when we deal with the testing of any software. So what is error? It is the human action which produces the incorrect result and that produces a fault, right? So any sort of action or any sort of human action basically which is going to produce the incorrect result, and that incorrect result basically leads to fault is what is called as an error. Second is the bug. What is bug? The presence of error when we are executing the software, right? If there is any sort of error when we are executing a particular software, this is what is referred to as bug. Now third comes is the fault, state of software which is caused by an error, right? Once this occur, at what particular state your software moves on, this is what is called as an fault. Or in very first definition of error also, we have seen this, that the action which produces incorrect results and it is going to produce a fault. So this is the state of software which is caused by the error. Now next is the failure, deviation of the software from what it is expecting result, it is the failure, right? There are two things. First is what is we are expecting, and second is the actual. So the deviation of the expecting, what we are expecting out of the software and actually what we are getting, it is basically the failure. And we as a software developer, as a software engineer, none of the software developer actually wants that they should encounter any sort of failure in the software that they are developing. That simply means that the software should work according to what the requirements of the end users are. Actual input, actual output that we are expecting should be able to get that very type of output. So these are some terminologies which we generally use when we are dealing in terms of testing. Now, next is the software testing process. The most widely used testing process consists of these very stages. First is the unit, second is the integration, third is the system, and fourth is the acceptance testing, right? So if we talk in terms of levels, we actually have to move from the very first, which is the unit testing, right? It is very much clear from the word itself only. What is unit testing? We cannot test the complete system as a whole in one go. We basically have to start from a single unit. We initially need to test independent units, and then we move on to integration, then system, and lastly the acceptance testing. So what is unit testing? It is a method by which individual unit of sources or code are tested to determine if they are fit for use. If there is any sort of problem in that individual unit that need to be encountered, that need to be taken care of well in advance. So a unit is what? It is basically the smallest testable part of an application. What is the smallest unit that need to be tested is basically the unit, right? So we need to check with the functions, we need to check the classes, procedures, what is the interface and all. Unit tests are basically written and executed by the software developer, right? These tests are basically written and they are executed by the developer to make sure that the code meets your design and requirements as it is behaving as what is expected out of it. So each and every unit need to be tested independently at this unit level of testing. The goal is to segregate each part of the program and test that independent parts are working correctly. See, once we have tested the independent unit, then we moves on that if we are integrating a unit with some another unit, how it is, how it is working, whether there is any sort of issue in that particular testing. So it is important that we need to make sure at initial level that each and every independent unit is working properly and it is working correctly. That simply means that for any function or procedure, when a set of inputs are given, it should return the proper values. What do you mean by the proper values? The expected output that we are expecting out of the software. It should handle the failures gracefully. If there is any sort of errors, if there is any sort of failure in the code that we are actually going to get during this course, that an invalid input may give. It should able to handle these very type of issues clearly. So what is the advantage of this unit testing? The very first advantage of unit testing is that the issues, the problems, the faults are basically identified at your initial stage, at early stage, since they are carried out by developers when test their individual code before the integration. See, when we are actually moving on to integration, the easier or the earlier we'll be able to find out any sort of issues in the code, the easier it is to rectify. The later we'll be able to encounter any sort of issues in the code that we are going to develop, the difficult it is to track, right? So we'll be able to handle the issues at the early stage. That is the beauty of unit testing, right? The issues can be found very early, they can be resolved, and they without impacting the other pieces of code, because we are having the independent unit which are not connected. So if there is any sort of issue in this particular unit, this can be handled correctly. This changes or any sort of issues in this particular code will not be hampering this module or any other modules in the system. Now second is that it helps in maintaining and changing the code. This is possible by making the code less independent so that unit testing can be executed. Hence, chance of impact of changes at any code gets reduced, right? As it is not connected with the rest of the modules or with the rest of the units in the tested in the complete environment. So it is not going to have an impact on rest of the units as well. Now, since the bugs are found early in unit testing, it also helps in reducing the cost of bugs. As I just told you that earlier we'll be able to find out and detect any type of bug in the unit, the easier it is to detect. And again, in terms of your costing also, the costing will again be less, rather than moving from your unit to integration and then to your system and then to your acceptance testing. So just imagining the cost of bug found during later stage of development like system testing or during acceptance, which will be costlier as compared to bugs found during unit testing, right? And again, unit testing helps in simplifying the debugging process as well. So these are all the different advantages of unit testing. Now next is the component testing. It is also called as module testing. The another name for your component testing is the module testing. Now what is the basic difference between unit testing and component testing is that in unit testing, the developer tests their piece of code. But in component, the whole component is basically tested. The complete component is basically testing. That is the difference. There are problems associated with testing a module in isolation. See, when we are talking about testing, is it practically possible or feasible to test an independent unit, right? So there is a problem in that. So how do we run a module when we do not have any module which is calling the module which we need to test? And how can we test a module which is not which is not actually calling some other modules in the system, right? So that is possible, and based on that we'll be able to get it in some form of intermediate values during the execution of testing. Now there comes is the requirement of the stubs and drivers. What is this? One approach is to construct an appropriate driver routine to call it and simple stubs to be called by it and to insert output statements in it, right? When we are saying that we are having a particular module which need to be tested, how this module will be tested when we are not having any calling modules and any called modules. These are what? These are basically dummy modules which is basically used so that we will be able to test this particular individual unit. What is stubs? Stubs serves to replace modules that are subordinate to called by the modules to be tested. Or we can say that these are basically the dummy modules which is basically required so that we will be able to test that individual component or module, and once this testing has been done, these dummy modules are basically removed, right? So stub or dummy modules uses the subordinate module interfaces and do minimal data manipulation, prints, verification, and again the returns. Now component testing again may be done in isolation from rest of the system depending on the development life cycle chosen for that particular type of application, right? So they can be done in isolation as well. In such casing, missing software is basically replaced by this stubs and drivers, right? And simulate the interface between the components that we actually want to test in a very simple way. So we can take an example to understand it in a better way. Suppose there is an application which consists of 3 modules, say module A, module B and module C, which need to be tested. The developer has developed the module B and now want to test it, right? There is a module B and developer want to test this particular module. But in order to test the module B completely, few of its functionalities are dependent on module A and few on again on module C. So how we can actually test the module B without actually looking for the functionalities which are dependent on any other module, module A and module C. But these module A and C have not been developed yet. Yes, it is dependent on the functionalities of module A and C, but they have not been developed yet. So how we can test the module B? So in that case, to test module B completely, we can replace module A and C by stubs and by drivers as required, right? So what are they? They are dummy modules, which is basically required to test this particular module B. Now, what are drivers? A driver calls the component which is to be tested. In that particular scenario, let's say if you want to test this particular unit B, so drivers calls the component which is to be tested. A component that calls the tested unit. It is a component which calls the tested unit. And what are stubs? Stub is called from the software component to be tested, right? They are the cold modules which are basically called from the software or from that particular unit which is to be tested. A component, the test unit depends on partial implementation and sometimes returns fake values as well. So stubs, the demo modules that simulates the low level of testing, and stubs are always distinguished as called programs, right? They are the called programs. They are the stubs, because this particular module or this particular unit which need to be tested is basically calling this particular module. Now, test stubs are programs which simulate the behavior of software components that a module process actually depends on, and they mainly used in the top-down approach, right? They basically are used in the top-down approach. They are computer programs which acts as temporary, as I told you that if you are talking in terms of your drivers and stubs, they are temporary modules. That simply means that once we have tested this independent unit, we are going to remove these very temporary modules. So computer or the stubs are, they act as a temporary replacement for called modules and give the same output as the actual product of the software. So what are drivers? The dummy modules that simulate the high level modules. That means the modules which is calling the particular unit which need to be tested. Drivers are also considered as the form of again dummy modules similar to your like stub modules, where they are distinguished as the calling programs. So they are the calling programs and stubs are the called programs, right? So they are considered in the form of dummy modules which are distinguished as the calling programs, which is handled in the bottom up integration testing. It is only used when main programs are under the construction, right? So once we have tested an independent unit, now we just move on to the second level of testing, which is called as an integration testing, right? Unit, we have studied about unit testing. Second is the integration. Third is the system, and fourth is the acceptance. So we have already tested the independent unit. We have already discussed about the unit testing. We have already discussed that practically it is not possible and feasible to test an independent unit, and there comes a scenario of this like drivers and stuff, which are nothing but the called and the calling programs or the dummy modules and the variables, which is basically used so that we will be able to handle or so that we will be able to test an independent unit that we want to test. And once the testing has been over, those dummy or those modules or those stubs and drivers are basically removed. Second is the integration testing. It is again very much clear from the word itself only. It is the phase in software testing in which individual software modules are combined and tested as a group, right? testing is basically done with the, based on that how the particular module or how that particular unit are basically combined. So as a group, we'll actually be able to test it. Is there any sort of issues that we are encountering when we are talking in terms of interfaces and all? So for that, it need to be very much clear. So it is very much clear again that it occurs after unit testing but before system testing. So this sequence need to be properly followed. At initial level, unit testing need to be done. Then comes is the integration. Once integration is done, then we'll be dealing in terms of the complete system testing, and lastly we'll be talking in terms of your acceptance testing. So it is always done after the unit testing has been performed and before testing the complete system, that is the system testing. Now integration testing takes as its input modules that have been unit tested, and it is going to group those very modules in larger aggregates, which is going to apply test defined in the integration test plan to those aggregates and delivered as an output to the integrated system, which is ready for the system testing. So in this, we will actually be dealing in terms of the interface, which will be actually there between the different type of modules. And before going for the complete system testing, we actually need to make sure that if the modules are basically integrated with each other, are we facing any type of issues in that? Or those integration is perfectly working fine and it is not having any sort of problems in that. So we need to make sure before the system testing that there is no problem when we are going to integrate a particular unit with the another unit in the system, right? Again, it is very much clear from this diagram as well, right? Let's say there is a module A and there is any other module B. So integration testing is this part when we are actually integrating this module A and module B, right? The type of interface which is basically created, is there any sort of issues or is there any type of problems which is basically arising when we are integrating this particular module A with the another module B in the system? Perfectly, this unit, this is a unit, right? Module A is a separate unit, module B is a separate unit. We have already tested module A and module B are perfectly working fine independently, that we have already tested in your unit testing, right? Now it is the time that we need to integrate this modules A and module B, and we need to make sure that this integration is also working fine and there is no issue in this particular testing. Now, if we talk in terms of this another figure, we can very much see with this, particular diagram as well, which will elaborate the things in a much better way. If we talk in terms of unit testing, like say, this is a separate unit, this is a separate unit, this is a separate unit, and all these are separate units, right? And you have tested all these separate units independently, which are perfectly, no doubt, working in the proper way. When we are talking in terms of integration, we actually need to check that when we are integrating this particular module with another module or with this one unit, with this another unit in the system, when we are going to, doing the type of integration, is there any sort of issues that we are getting? So we need to make sure before going for the complete system testing as a whole, we need to check that there is no sort of issues, there is no sort of problems when we are integrating a particular unit with the another unit in the system. So there is this very scenario which falls under this very category of integration testing. And when we are talking in terms of integration testing, we can further move on to different type of approaches as well. What are those different approaches? First is the top-down approach. Second is the bottom approach. Third is the sandwich type of approach. How we are actually, integrating the modules. Are we moving from top to down? Are we moving from bottom to up? We are integrating the lower level modules and then moving on to the upper level. That is your bottom up testing. And third is the sandwich type of testing, which is basically the mix, or which is basically the hybrid in terms of mixing your top down and bottom up integration testing depending on what the requirements are, right? We can, in a simple scenario, we can actually move at the same time from bottom to top as well and from top to bottom as well. So it is further divided again into three very types. Top down, depending on starting with the base value or testing the the very single starting module and then moving downwards in the direction, that is top down testing. And in bottom up, we basically start with the lower level of modules and test them and then move on till we reach to the top, and sandwich is basically the mix as well as, I mean, top down as well as the bottom up. So second comes is the integration testing, where we need to make sure that we need to test when we are integrating the particular modules in the system, there is no sort of issues which is basically coming. Now, after this integration testing, third comes is the system testing, right? So, as I told you, a proper sequence need to be properly followed. We can actually not test the complete system as a whole until and unless this unit testing has been done properly and this integration testing has been done properly. So, there is a proper sequence that need to be followed. Initially, unit testing need to be done, right? And practically, it is not possible, even feasible, to test an independent unit which is not calling any unit and which is not called by any other unit. And that is actually the reason that we generally requires the concept of drivers and stubs, which I just told you. These are dummy modules, or you can say temporary modules, which is basically required so that we can test an independent unit which is basically called and which is basically calling some another unit in the system, right? So once we have done it, we just move on to the integration part, testing that how the system is going to, how the, you know, when we are integrating a module with another module in the system, how it is responding, how it is, you know, giving you the results and all. And third comes is the system testing, which basically means that before delivery of a particular project to your end user, it need to be properly make sure that like the complete system testing has been done. There is no issue in delivering the complete system as a whole. It is perfectly working fine. And after the system testing, there comes is the scenario of acceptance testing, right? And this is the testing which is basically performed by your users as well. Again, it is further divided into alpha and beta type of testing. One which is done in the controlled environment and another which is not done in the controlled environment, not in sort of laboratories and all, in which the product has been delivered to your end user and they check the system at their own level. So, that's all for today. Thank you so much.